Welcome back to Stocklabs for another market recap. This is for the week ending July 8th. And it was a pretty good week overall for the markets. Kind of went up first 4 days and then chopped around on Friday a little bit. NASDAQ was up on Friday, kind of the outperformer for the week. But yeah, kind of a little bit of a break from the bear market action that we've been having pretty consistently all year. As far as the actual performance, Qs, like I said, outperformed up 4.7%. This kind of erased the prior week that was down 4% Same thing, IWM erased prior week's gain or losses up 2.5% this week. And SPY down up 2%, with the Dow trailing just up 1%. SPY and Dow didn't quite recoup all the losses from the prior week, but they were pretty close. Bonds down big this week. So we'll see if that has an effect on equities moving forward, because usually when this bond market volatility kind of picked up, the equities weren't far behind. And gold got hit pretty hard, along with oil backing off this week overall. So good week for the equity complex, kind of taking a break. Inflation fears are subsiding a little bit. You see some of the commodity related areas are continuing to back off, which is putting a bid on other stuff in the market for now. As far as our industries went, breadth was kind of, it was okay. Healthcare was a big outperformer, up 6.6%. This is not the first time that healthcare led for the week, which is a big change from the last year and a half or so, where healthcare was consistently the worst performing sector. So looks like there's some rotation going on into healthcare. We'll see if it sticks. And then tech, kind of, it's not right there as far as being a leader, but it's like half the performance of healthcare, but a pretty solid week, up 3.4%. Although the median performance was less than the Qs. So you could see that the performance was kind of weighted towards the bigger names. Let me go to our leadership week to date. Yeah, so you see overall the mega cap leadership up almost 7%. Tesla big week 10%. Google 10%. Nvidia 9%. Even Facebook up 7%. Big bounces for a lot of these names, which basically propelled the Nasdaq up higher. More than the average, or more than the median tech stock. So go back to industries. Yeah, utilities underperformers, along with basic materials. Basic materials been underperforming for about a month, 6 weeks, something like that. Maybe a little longer, since that trade maybe got pretty crowded, and then also as soon as the sort of sentiment changes on a sector and it's crowded, you see some pretty nasty stuff as far as the price action goes in that sector. Which the materials, they haven't completely collapsed, but they're well off the highs that they were setting earlier in the year. Subsectors, gene editing, big outperformer, above basically everything else. This is within healthcare, and this is one of the most beaten down sectors in the market over the last year or so. So, not surprising that if, a little bit of rotation starts happening into it, that it produces a pretty big bounce, since no one's allocated here anymore. And then the rest, we've got 24 sectors up 5%, with a pretty good mix. It's good to see SaaS on here. We've got semiconductors in a couple places, not too bad. And on the downside, only things that were really markedly down were some of these commodity, specifically the metals. Um, Silver down 7%, gold down 4.6%, which is not too good. And then you see a slew of sort of the oil and gas stuff. It's not down 5%, but it's continuing to bleed out um, from where it was. Um, as far as our breadth on a market cap basis, got 1 to 5 billion up 2.5%. Got 5 to 10 billion up 2%. 10 to 50 billion large caps up 1.3%. Mega caps up 6/10. So, quite a bit weaker than the overall market. And Terra caps up 1.2%. So even that weaker than the overall market or than the indices. The indices really got propelled by those mega caps that you know they just dragged the indices up. Rest of the components, they were up, but not not as pronounced with the gains. So from a breadth perspective, I mean, industry wise, not bad. Kind of a pretty typical week. From a market cap standpoint, you'd see that kind of underperformed the indices overall. So maybe the bounce wasn't as strong um, as it looked on the surface. We'll see if that plays into anything next week, but I would imagine that unless the rally's gonna, unless it's really kind of a real turn in the market, you're probably going to see some of this underperformance on a stock wide basis sort of borne out with the indices becoming weak again pretty soon. As far as intelligence goes, if I can find it. So intelligence likes short Russell, short biotech, and Mexico. So we've seen this Mexican ETF pop up here a few times, but really not a lot overall here. Kind of just likes for maybe to initiate some short positions and look out for some weakness into the end of the week. If we invert this, 5, and so on the bearish side, we have home builders, we have Fang. So Fang was, like I said, huge outperformer this past week. Maybe it's going to retrace some of those gains that would kind of coincide with weaker overall indices. Cannabis rated bearish. I mean, I don't see anyone really talking about the weed stocks anymore as far as all the big storyline and legalizations coming and all these things like that. So cannabis probably going to be weak this week. Dow, okay, bullish Dow is rated bearish. So bearish Dow, robotics, semis. Although VIX is also bearish, so maybe it won't be a dramatic, maybe any downside wouldn't be too dramatic. It'll just be sort of retracement type action. Another wheat ETF and some kind of infrastructure thing. So not a whole lot here between the two, bullish and bearish side of intelligence, but there's something to sort of parse through. We never did get our actual oversold signal in the market, these last 6 weeks, or actually last couple months. So we nearly hit overbought the other day this week, but didn't quite get there, and kind of just chopping around in this range as far as the oscillator goes. For intelligence, let's see if I just go basically look at this year. Doesn't have too much to say about this week. Kind of slightly down action over the next 2 weeks. Yeah. So overall, I mean, yeah, it was kind of a pretty typical summer trading week. Kind of made a bit of an up move. Wasn't an aggressive up move. And then you could say that it petered out by Friday, although most of the gains held. So it's not too concerning from that perspective. So we'll see what this week brings. I mean, so far July hasn't been too bad, and July is usually a halfway decent month as far as seasonality goes. So we'll see how it plays out. Thanks for tuning in, and hope everyone's having good summer. Probably you're taking some time off from the markets anyway. Enjoy the beach or traveling or whatever you're doing. So, yeah, we'll check back in next week, and good luck out there. Bye.